I really hate that they removed the music from the background of the simulacrum. Because now whenever I'm making a video just showing something off in the simulacrum, instead of having the cool, like, getting ready to fight music that there used to be, it's now just the weird noise of the void. And it's kind of like, these noises are disturbing, and it's really distracting whenever I'm trying to talk about how to put a build together, right? But, yeah, in today's video, we're talking about the Akvasto Prime, recently added into the game with the unvaulting with Mag and Nova, and they thought that they would just take the opportunity to release the Akvasto Prime because they were re-releasing the regular Vasto Prime, right? These are not the best secondaries in the world, but they're pretty fashionable, and they are decent for the casual content that you're going to be playing, right? So if you are the type of guy who logs on, does his daily sortie, does all of his standing, logs off again, awesome. These weapons can definitely perform in that type of content. If you're the type of guy going into endurance runs, look elsewhere, right? Because it really depends on the type of enemies that you're going against. So for example, corpus enemies, you're going to want to bring something high in status chance with a gas build or something like that. You know, it really depends. But that's not what this video is about. This video is about the Akvasto Prime and how good or bad they are, right? So let's go ahead and take a look at the base stats. So to begin with, we have a 22% critical chance. We've got a crit multiplier of 2.4 times, a fire rate of 6.33, magazine size of 12. Of course, they are alarming. Reload speed of 1.4, a Riven Dispo of 4, which is actually really nice. Status chance of 22%, semi-automatic, meaning you have to kind of spam your mouse button, which you're probably going to hear because I'm recording at my setup at home. And then we have a slash stat of 46.2, puncture stat of 9.9, impact stat of 9.9. So you add these three numbers together, and that is the total amount of damage that the weapon deals versus an enemy that hasn't got any resistances or anything like that. So awesome. You can build this for a hybrid, right? We've got a critical chance of 22%. We have a status chance of 22%. So you can build this for either full-on status, full-on crit, or a hybrid. Hybrid is what most people are going to do because it's the best result. It's a little bit less forma, right? So let's go ahead and talk about what staple mods we're going to use on the Akvasto. Personally, I'm always going to run crit on this weapon. So we're going to go ahead and throw on, first off, our Hornet Strike for our damage. Then we throw on our Lethal Torrent for more fire rate and more multi-shot. Then we throw on our Barrel Diffusion for even more multi-shot, if I can find it, because, you know, I'm totally blind. I've got astigmatism, fun fact about me. There we go, Barrel Diffusion, awesome. And then we throw on our crit mods, right, because I like building this for crit. So we throw on our Prime Target Cracker for our critical damage, and then Prime Pistol Gambit for our critical chance, taking us to a 63.1% critical chance with a 5 times critical multiplier. Awesome, super cool. So with these mods on, you now have 3 slots left to do whatever you want. You can run your 60% status mods, so your element plus status chance, or you can run your 90%, and then you have another slot to throw on pretty much anything, and there is a few options. So let's say, for example, we wanted to go full crit, right? What we would do is we would throw on the element that we want to mod for. So in most cases, versus ferrite armored enemies, which is the heavy gunners, you're going to want to mod for corrosive damage because that corrosive damage is going to give you a 75% bonus damage to those ferrite armored enemies, and the corrosive procs, which, keep in mind, you have a status chance of 50.1% with this build, is going to strip away the enemy armor. So that way you're dealing more damage over time, meaning your damage scales a little bit better into late game, right? So Convulsion plus Pathogen rounds gives us our corrosive, and then that just adds on more total damage, right? So we have our slash stat of 413, puncture of 88.6, impact of 88.6, and then corrosive of 1063. Add all of that together, and that is your damage versus an enemy that has absolutely no resistances, right? So with that being said, we've got this one final slot, and there's a few options that you can throw on here. You can either stack up on the element that you're modding for by throwing on a 60% mod. So for example, we could go ahead and throw on Pistol Pestilence, right? And that gives us even more corrosive damage, so it just raises our damage a little bit. Gives us more status chance, so we're more likely to strip away that armor, which is really cool. We could run a third element. So we'd throw on Heated Charge, And then that's going to add another thing to add on to the equation, right? And it's also going to give us bonus damage versus certain enemies. So for example, if we were shooting a level 110 corrupted heavy gunner who has ferrite armor, we would get the 75% damage bonus from corrosive. Then we'd have the 25% damage bonus from the heat damage that's on our weapon as well. Awesome, right? You can go ahead, and because we're building this for crit, you could use hydraulic crosshairs, right? So whenever you get a headshot, you're going to increase your critical chance, meaning you're going to be landing your crits more consistently, meaning more damage overall. Or you can go ahead and just run Augur Pact. Augur Pact is also pretty good because it just increases your damage by 90%. Awesome, right? What I like to do, because this weapon is mainly slash damage, and it has a pretty decent status chance, meaning it's going to proc that slash proc a decent bit. I like to run my expel mods, because expel mods actually have like a bug to them. I say bug, it's kind of considered a mechanic, but at the same time, it's still kind of a bug. But it's a mechanic slash bug called double dipping, right? So slash procs are going to receive that 55% damage bonus twice. So your slash procs, whenever they do proc, are going to be extremely amplified. I can't speak. Amplified. So in some cases, most of the time, it means that you're going to have higher burst DPS, meaning it's going to be less shots to kill because your slash procs are going to do most of the work for you, right? So if we were to go ahead and use this build versus a level 110 heavy gunner, and the reason I test versus a level 110 heavy gunner is because that's the highest level enemy that you're going to come against in, just sortie content. So if you're doing your sorties, your daily rep farm, all that stuff, this is the highest level enemy that you're going to come against just playing casually, right? And that's basically the audience that I kind of appeal to, right? Just showing people the options and then telling them what type of content they can use it in, okay? So there's that, level 110 corrupted heavy gunner. We're also going to have the enemy paused, and the reason we have the enemy paused is so I can land consistent headshots. You should be aiming for headshots because headshots give you a damage bonus as well. And common misconception is that the enemy standing still or the AI being paused means that you deal bonus damage. That's not true. That's only for your melee weapon, not your secondaries, not your primaries, right? So what we're going to do is we're not going to spam the trigger, because if you spam the trigger, you're going to miss shots, and it's going to take more shots to kill. What you want to do is just put bullets in the head. Take your time with your shots. Now, you're going to notice that with the Akvasto, they have a nice kick to them. So if you were to spam the trigger, there you go. You see that spread right there? Really, really bad. So take your time, aim carefully. It's kind of one of the reasons that I don't like using this weapon, but if I was just running for a mission and killing like lower level mobs, it'd be totally fine. But versus these higher level enemies, you kind of have to take your time, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Wait for it. Dead. 8 or 9 shots, right? So that slash proc really helped out there because it just, took off a decent chunk of that enemy's health. Those slash procs go through the enemy's armor, so you don't have to, the damage of those slash procs isn't reduced. Now, that is somewhat inconsistent in the sense that you're not always going to be landing a slash proc, right? You have a pretty decent chance of getting a slash proc, but it's not going to happen all the time. So 1, there's a slash proc, right? 2, there's an impact proc. 3, corrosive proc. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 shots. So you're around the kind of 8 to 12 shot range with this build to take down these corrupted heavy gunners, right? With the specific build that I'm using, which is your prime being, your primed expel in the case of secondaries, right? So awesome, right? But this here is really, really expensive. So are these. You don't have to use the prime version of these. You can use the regular pistol gambit. You can use the regular target cracker. Do not use the regular expel mods because the value is way too low. I would almost say the same for these two mods, but crit is crit and crit is nice. But if you really don't want to use the regular version of pistol gambit and the regular version of target cracker, then what you can do is you can just build this for straight up status, right? So we throw on our lethal torrent, bar diffusion, and hornet strike, and then we can just go ahead and throw on as much status chance as possible, right? So pistol pestilence plus our jolt mod. And that's going to give us our corrosive damage. And then we go ahead and we throw on our convulsion plus our passion rounds, and then we have one more spot on there to throw on our fire, which is our scorch, because we want more status chance, right? So we have 93.1% status chance, and we have pretty high damage values as well. We still have decent critical chance with the 22% critical chance and the, what's the multiplier again? Just so I can remind myself, it is a 2.4 times multiplier. So we're still going to kill this guy rather fast. It's just the likes of our slash procs, they're not going to deal as much damage as they would be with the primed expel mod, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 16? Wait for it. 17. So you're talking like maybe 16, 20 shots with the status build. Still decent, right? Level 110 enemy. Armor scales pretty heavily. You're relying on the corrosive procs. So again, you're relying on status procs to make your damage skill a little bit better. But if you're the spam shit this, you know, you're not going to be dealing as much damage because you're not landing those headshots, right? You're going through entire magazines to kill these enemies, relying on the corrosive procs and the slash procs to kind of help you out with your damage and just make it so that your damage is better off overall. So it's entirely down to you what you want to do. This here guy is a massive factor in the amount of damage we dealt in the first demonstration. If we were to do the same thing with more or less the same build, just swapping off that primed expel for Augur Pact, for example. Let's go ahead and lay into this guy with Augur Pact. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8? Pretty good, right? So the idea with the critical build is because that enemy is generally a lower level, right? He's going to die a lot faster if you just like stack on as much damage as possible. Where something like the Expel build is going to scale a little bit better into late game, right? So whenever the enemies start to get to absurd levels like level 1000 or something, that's when your status procs are going to start helping out a lot. But for the likes of, you know, just level 110, Augur Pact hydraulic crosshairs, which I'm going to demonstrate now, these are totally fine as well, you know? Totally fine. And in some cases, you're going to kill in less shots, right? Because you're not relying on that slash proc to proc, right? So the thing is, like, your beam mods, expel mods are used heavily on the likes of the Baza, the Soma, any crit rifle that has somewhat decent. You don't really need status chance because you're relying on the crit, but basically because you have a reliable way to proc those slash procs, that makes those beam mods 10 times better, right? Doesn't make them bad necessarily on the secondaries like the expel mods, but it just makes them a little bit less valuable, right? So let's go ahead and see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There you go. 9 shots to kill. So they're kind of around the same area, right? Doesn't really matter what it is you're doing, but there is room for error whenever you're using the likes of hydraulic crosshairs and Augur Pact and whatnot, because like hitting as high of a base number as possible is going to help out with those slash procs as well. So just make sure to hit your headshots. Make sure to, you know, just aim. Take your time with your shots with this weapon, and you should be pretty good. So basic standard builds. And I guess the last thing I can show you guys is the exact same thing with just our heated charge on here. And I guess we can stack up on corrosive after as well. And then do the same old thing. So this is with our fire damage, which is basically a 100% damage increase because you have, you know, 75% from corrosive and then 25% from heat. I didn't actually count how many shots we put into him there, but we did have to reload. So that's, it's still pretty good. Let's go ahead and stack on corrosive damage. Where is my pistol pestilence? There it is. So 70% status chance, pure corrosive, nothing but headshots. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Still pretty decent, right? So it doesn't really matter which one of these builds you use, you're still gonna deal tons of damage, right? You're still going to be able to kill these enemies pretty quickly. And what was the last one I was going to show you guys? I forget. I actually forget. What you could do is do this. This is actually going to take less form of Pistol Pestilence, like that, and then you can either use a 90% or you can use Auger Pact or something, right? And then shoot the guy in the head. It's going to have higher status chance, so you're going to strip away the armor more consistently, but you're just going to have lower damage. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There you go. 10, 11, 12 shots, right? Really, really cool. Really, really good. If you want to take it a little bit more overboard, you can use Mesa, right? Use Mesa because you get a fire rate increase. Yep. You get a fire rate increase, and then you also use 2 times Arcane Velocity, and then spam the trigger, dude. Spam the trigger. So I'm going to use my Expel mod, which is this one. Nope. Can't fit that on. There we go. And we're going to use our Convulsion plus our Passion rounds. Usually whenever you're using this on rifles, you use viral damage to half the enemy's HP, but in this case, because like you don't have a reliable way of proccing slash, we're just going to be focused in on dealing as much damage as possible, right? So, boom, dead. Super fast. So, what you're kind of worried about is DPS. So, you're most likely going to proc slash at some point if you just keep on spamming the trigger. So, he should die now. An entire magazine. You don't even have to care about him. He's gone, right? So it's all about DPS, not caring, letting slash procs and all that stuff do the work. If you're doing the likes of like 4 times Cruiser Projection, you can either run viral or gas. It's really down to you. Gas with Expel mod or Beam mod is really, really nice, but you gotta make sure you're hitting the boyos in the head, or else this is just kind of a waste, right? Those headshots are very, very crucial, but I like these weapons. They're pretty nice. Maybe using Arcane Velocity is kind of a waste because you have to have the trigger finger to kind of go with it, but it enables you to spam it like super, super fast, right? So there you go. Mans is dead now. So, yeah. That is it. Akvasto Prime. They're decent. Nothing insane. Akvasto Prime and whatnot is a lot better, but I hope I showed you guys some builds that you may not have thought of, and hopefully I kind of made you feel a little bit less bad about the build that you may be thinking about running, or just kind of taught you a little bit about how elementals and stuff work. So yeah, thank you guys for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, hit the like button below. If you want to see more Warframe content from me, hit subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.